Hi, I'm going to show you how to create a formula within Plecto. Let's go. So once you get to the home page, click on formulas and then click add new formula at the top right corner to create a new formula. You're going to be taken to the visual formula editor. You also have an advanced editor, but in this tutorial, I'm going to focus on creating the formula from this editor, from the visual editor. So first step, give a nice name to the formula, usually the name of the KPI that you are building. In this case, number of HubSpot connected calls. So not only the calls, but I want to get the number of connected calls. Then you'll find this option right here that is called components. That's how we create formulas in Plecto with components. And we have different types of components. So the first one is the data function one. This is what you're going to use, I will say 80 or 90% of the time. But I'm also going to explain these other options. So existing formula allows you to do calculations with a formula that you previously created. So for example, this is a formula that I previously created, and let's just say I want to add the contact rate plus 100. So that's just an option just to show the functionality, but that's how you do calculations with a formula that you previously created. You also have the option to group the components. This is more like a parentheses used in mathematical operations to group different components. And this is tag number, normally used for targets. You can use that for other things as well. And you also have the date function component with which will allow you to know the number of work days, holidays, days, weeks, months, or years within a specific time frame. Okay, great. Now let's get to the date function option, which is where you're going to use most of the time. You're going to be asked by the data source. So assuming you already connected your data sources, just pick one where this is where you're pulling the information from for this formula. So in this case, HubSpot calls test is the one I'm going to use. Then select the correct function for the component. You have number of unique, some of them are self-explanatory. But if you would like to get a more in detail explanation, we have a help article called Data Functions in Formulas, and here you can just find a little summary and some examples. Okay, great. So since I want to know the number of calls, and I already selected the data source here, so you will find a little message that says that the number of function always counts the number of registrations within the selected data source above. Okay, great. So that's that. And then you pick the correct date field and click on done. We're not done yet, but I just want to show you this. So if you click on this little square right here, you will be taken directly to the data source that you're using for that formula. I'm just going to show all of the fields that are available in here. So I want to know the number of connected calls. This is a list in the data source. This is a list of all of the calls, right? But I just want to know the connected ones. So if I go to the call disposition field, where are you? You're here. You'll find that this is the field that will allow me to know what's the status of the call. So here I have one that is connected. So I know that I need to use this field as a filter in my formula. So what I'm going to do now is add a filter here. So I'm going to say the number of HubSpot calls which the disposition is connected, right? Let's say also I want to know the outbound ones, right? The outbound connected calls. So what I will also do is use the call direction option. You will see that this is a text field, so you will have to input the text manually in the filter. So this is call direction. And instead of having a drop-down menu with all the options, this is a text field. I will just copy paste the text from the formula from the data source. I prefer to do this because Plecto is case sensitive. So for example, if you have outbound with the space at the end, it will not filter correctly. So just make sure to look out for those little details when you're filtering the data. Okay, so now I have the number of HubSpot output connected calls. And I have here a little preview. This preview, the time frame you don't select it from the formula editor. That's very important. you select the time frame from the widget settings, not from here. But you have this preview right here, which will allow you to know the output of the formula, the result of the formula in different time frames, so you can compare both systems and know that the formula is actually working. So, for example, today I have 4 calls. For yesterday, I don't know. For the current month, well, I have 4 because it's January the 1st right now. But I hope that makes sense. So what I will do right now, if I were you, I would just go to HubSpot and just compare, use the same filters I use in Plecto. I will use the same filters on HubSpot and the same time frame and the same date field, and I will compare if the results are the same, just to know if the formula is working 100%. Okay, great. Now I explained that. I will also explain the number format. For these, I'm going to use another example. So I have the number of connected outbound calls. I will just name this correctly. Also, you have the conditional colors. So let's say, for example, my target for a daily outbound connected calls is 5. I can input the colors right here. Also, if I click here, I will click on yellow. I will say between 3 and 4, it will be yellow, and anything below 3, it will be 0. So if I click on, yeah, in this little color, you will be able just to change between red, yellow, and green and just work with that. So if you use this formula in any widget, the results will be shown accordingly to the colors that you selected in here. So I'm going to click on save. I'm also going to do a rate so you can just have different scenarios. Okay, so let me just, yep. Let me just open another window, duplicate. Again, I'm going to go to the home page. Click on formulas to create another formula and click on add new formula. Okay, great. Now I'm going to build the number of outbound connected calls, or just the number of outbound. Sorry, let me just fix the name first. Connected calls. Number of connected calls rate. Or, sorry, I'm just going to use the rate of connected calls. Okay, again, I'm going to pick the correct data source. Let's give it a little time. And again, select the data source that I used previously. And I want to get the number again of connected calls. This position is connected. Great. So I know now I have the number of connected calls. I will use another component to just know the number of calls, not the connected calls, but just the calls. And that's how I do that. What I also can do instead, just to show you a different way of doing this, is instead of getting the number of connected calls from here, I can use an existing formula that I already created previously. Number of connected calls test. I think this is the one I created previously. So I'm going to have this here, delete this one, and divide, right? I need to get the number of... So what I'm doing right here, just to explain, I'm having the formula that I previously created here, which is this one. So I want these divided by the number of total calls, right? To get the rate, because I'm building a rate, just to be on the same page. Now, I use the formula and I divide it by the new component I created, which is the number of calls. And then what I need to do is change the number format, change it to percentage. And let's say I want to have 2 decimals at the end, just to be more specific. Okay, great. Now you will see that I created a rate, and what I need to do is just change the number format to percentage. So I have the rate of connected calls. So that will be another formula. Now let's create a third one. I'm just using different examples so you can know what to do in different scenarios. And I will create the sum of, now I'm going to use the sum of function. Let me see what data source I can use. If I get here on the new component, I'll just have the, let's use Salesforce this time. Salesforce opportunities, and I will use the sum of the amount. Okay, great. Using the close it. So I want to know the number of, no, this is the sum of amount from opportunities. Great. Again, you will see that if I use the sum of, I will just be shown the fields that have number as a field type. So you can see that each of them have different field types. Some of them are employee fields, some of them are date fields, some of them are lists or text fields. So when I use sum of in the drop-down menu here, I'm just only going to show the number field. So make sure to use the correct format for the fields. If you need to change a format, so for example, if the number is coming in as a text, you need to change the field type from Salesforce or from the system that you're using, not from Plecto. Once you do that, it will be shown in here. Okay, great. Now, let's say I want to, these are dollars, and I want to use a prefix now, just to add the little dollar sign or euro sign or any other currency needed here. And that's how you do different formulas and how you use different functions within the formula editor. I hope that makes sense. And let us know if you have any questions. You can also reach out to support if needed. And thank you for your time. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.